Okay, how are you feeling about 2024? Are you feeling like you're on fire? You feel like you're nailing it, you're lit up, you're like reaching those goals, you're absolutely killing it, you're completely flowing, it's all happening for you, you're dedicated, you're devoted, you're feeling productive? Or are you maybe feeling like you just haven't been able to get it going yet? You just feel like there's something still blocking you and getting in the way of you creating that life that you truly deserve and desire? Do you feel like even though you're doing the things, you're showing up, you're taking the action, there's just still something that's stopping you? Do you feel like you know what it is you want to create, and maybe you even have the vehicle to create it, but for some reason there's just something that is stopping you from being able to take that perfectly imperfect action, to turn that vision into reality? Well, if you are feeling like that, no worries at all, because I'm so excited to share with you that I have just released my 3-month program, Activate 10x. This is a program that I have run live in the past, and I have decided to turn it into a self-paced program that you can tap into at any time to help you create 10x more in your life. More confidence, more happiness, more love, more success, more clarity. Like, imagine if you could have more fun, create better boundaries and advocate for yourself, make more money, build better relationships, know your worth, take more risks, put yourself out there, go after what you want, be the leader you know you can be, nourish yourself, right? And fully support yourself at the same time. What would life look like for you if you could activate 10x more of that? And that is exactly what this program is for. This program is for you if, you're tired of asking for permission or waiting for someone to come and save you. You're tired of looking for validation from outside of yourself. You know that you have everything you need within you now. If you could just step out of the shadows and tap into it. This is for you if, you're paralyzed constantly by procrastination or avoidance anxiety. This is for you if you just have this rocket of desire to create a life you are proud of and you finally feel ready to take the action to do it. This is for you if you're ready to build yourself back up and become the best woman out there. Or if you're ready to activate your courage and build unstoppable confidence. So if any of that sounds like what you are looking for in the last quarter of 2024, there is never a better time than spring, right? To reconnect with our goals for the year and that vision we have for ourselves and our life, to rise strong. This program is for you. So by signing up for this program, it's completely self-paced, self-directed learning. Take your time. You'll get access to 12 powerful trainings that cover transformational tools that you need to activate your courage and build unstoppable confidence. You'll get access to activations, audios, and templates to support your growth. You'll get access to a workbook to support your learning throughout each phase of the program. And also you'll receive exclusive opportunities to access my ongoing support via my other coaching programs and packages. So if you have been looking for something to give you that spring energy, that spring vibe, that spring cleaning, or maybe just that loving kick up the butt to go out there and take the action you know you need to take, or to find a way to take action that feels true and correct and supportive for you, then you definitely want to head to the show notes and check out my 12-week program, Activate 10x, that you can now access in your own time via your very own members portal. All right, enjoy the episode. Are you ready to find your voice, fulfill your purpose, build unstoppable confidence? And are you ready to learn how to trust, accept, and love yourself enough to do the work to create what you want in life? Oh, and do you want to learn how to do it without burning yourself out, sacrificing what matters most, or compromising on your values? then you're in the right place. I'm your host, Crystal Stanton, a certified coach, human design enthusiast, entrepreneur, and podcast host on a mission to guide women into their true, authentic success, to help them recognize their power and to step out from the shadows and into the woman they were always meant to be. Around here, we don't do grey, unaligned versions of our life. We don't settle for what we should be happy with. Around here, we do big, bold, courageous, fulfilled, rich lives, and we do it in an aligned, nourished, and truly authentic way. If that sounds like the life you want, then stick around and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. Okay, welcome to another episode of Fearless. I am super excited about this episode. I know I said it every single episode, but I really, really am. So I hope you are ready. I hope you are pumped. I hope you are excited, because you should be, because today we have the incredible Mel Brandt with us on the show, and I know it's going to be epic. So for those of you who may not know Mel yet, here's a little bit about her and the incredible life that she has created. So basically, after watching her babies being raised by a daycare center, she knew it was time to change the way she thought about the future. She then dived into the online space with absolutely no idea what she was doing and very little experience, which is so inspiring. But what she did have was a hunger for a life that most of us only ever dream of, right? For her and for her girls. So 8 years in the online space, and she has now been able to create the exact lifestyle that she desired 8 years ago. And you just can't get it any more perfect, because literally she's in Bali right now in the process of moving there. So Mel is now obsessed with marketing and ecosystem automation, and she gets to share her knowledge and insight with hundreds of other business owners, allowing them to have smart business systems and teaching them that time freedom is real if you are smart with your setup. So, welcome to the show, Mel.
I'm so excited. Thanks for the rock star intro. I
Oh,
love
you are
this.
a rock star.
I love this. Yeah, we are. We are. We're in Bali right now, and yeah, we're in the process of literally putting the last pieces of the puzzle into action.
Yeah, it's so great. And I guess we sort of like met a few years ago, and I've been in your world and I've been inside your programs, and so I know firsthand that you are exactly who you say you are, what you say you are, and you deliver exactly what you deliver. And when I decided I was going to do this podcast, you're like first person I wrote on my list. Like, I'm going to get Mel on this show because this show is all about empowering ourselves, right? I'm really, really passionate about women, especially, learning that we have to empower ourselves. No one else is coming to do it. No one else can save us. We have to do the work ourselves. We have to become the hero of our own story. And honestly, if there's anyone I know of who embodies that, it's you. So
Oh,
I wanted to, yeah, I wanted to ask, to start off with, every hero has an origin story, right?
yeah.
So we don't wake up in our hero life. So I'd love for you to be able to tell us a little bit about your journey to get here, where you are today. Like, what was the moment or the moments that made you realize, no one else is coming. I have to do this work. I have to be the change. I have to be the hero, and
Yeah.
and here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, well, I think for me, like I grew up in a really shitty fucking household. There's only one way to put it. And, I was surrounded by women who operated out of the scarcity mindset. So I grew up around thinking that things weren't possible. And I never saw anybody go for their dreams. I never saw anybody, step out of the norm or disrupt in any way, shape, or form. I feel as though I was born into disrupt, like as in, because I didn't see it as a child, I then rebelled. I knew that, well, why are you saying no to me when I know that I can do it? And I this is where, I was always put down for being so rebellious, and you don't listen and you don't do what you're told. And it's the exact reason why people want to work with me now, is because if everybody's going left, I go right. So how I ended up here was from just this innate feeling, I guess. I really can't put it down to anything else apart from I was seeing in my reality something that looked very different to what I was hearing every day, and I just, why? How is that guy driving a Ferrari? Like, you're saying it's not possible, but he's got one. I can see it.
Yeah.
And although that wasn't what made me drive towards, creating my business, I very much, I guess, in my journey with my mum as such, we don't have a great relationship. I haven't spoken to her for 10 years. And in that time, I really analyze. I think it's my ADHD brain. And rather than me going into victim mode, I did a little bit, but rather than me staying there, I went into analyze mode. And I do this now with everything. And I analyze what I don't like about her and what I don't like about how I was parented and how I was raised. And I just put into action the exact opposite,
Mm.
really, and again, it comes back to, if everyone's going left, I'm going right. And I looked at how she parented, how she would speak, the things that she taught me, the things that she didn't teach me. And I really started to pride myself on doing the exact opposite. So I actually prided myself on rebelling. Some people would call it, it did come from a place of trauma to start off with. It doesn't now, but it definitely started from trauma. But I'm not sorry for that one bit.
Mm.
My whole entire business was started from trauma. It was built in trauma. It kept me in trauma, probably because I was able to just focus on my business and not focus on what I needed to actually be healing. But that's how I chose to build. And when we talk about that from a, where did I come from perspective, again, I didn't listen to all the coaches and how they said it had to be done. I
Mm.
listened to what my body was saying, and my body, I had this overpowering, insane feeling, just fucking go and go and go and go. Don't fucking stop. Don't take your foot off the pedal. Go. And you are going to go until almost burnout. You are going, that's what's going to happen. And that's what I did. I went and went and went and went until my body was like, okay, now we're going to start slowing it up a little bit. And I've always just listened to what my body has said. Yes, I've had coaches. Yes, I've taken advice, but I didn't take advice on how things needed to be built in my life and in my relationships and in my business. I just knew. I just knew what that needed to look like. And yeah, really from a growth perspective for me as a human, I needed to just not do what everyone else was doing because I'd come from that place of such scarcity and I didn't want to stay there. I
Yeah.
didn't want the same life. I literally looked at the people around me and went, I don't want what you've got. So therefore, I'm not going to listen to the advice that you have. And I've applied that now in everything, and it seems to work. And some people might be like, "That's a trauma response." Well, so be it. So be it. I think absolutely everything is a trauma response in some way, shape, or form, and you just have to work with your strengths and your weaknesses.
Mm. I think too, though, like, yeah, sure, maybe it was built from trauma, in trauma, but it's created a life where you can heal now as well, and
100%.
if you don't
Yeah,
have a
it
pathway
created
to heal.
It did. It created this space. And I believe if I hadn't have done it the way that I did it, I never would have had the space because I quickly became a single mum
Mm.
of two girls. Where was I going to find the space to literally do less so that I can work on myself and become more? It's impossible until they move out of home. Anyone with children, yes, you might be able to do it in small increments. I didn't have the support of being able to, just do whatever I wanted. So it needed to be done that way. And I think that's the beauty in getting to choose what this looks like.
Yeah. And I think too, like now you get to show other people how to do it in an easier way. Like
Mm.
you sort of went first and paved the way, and now you get to
Yeah.
show other people how to sort of shortcut and jump steps and get ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I loved. I kind of needed a me, in my
Yeah.
life, in my business. And, rather than, being bitter, I just became better, and I've just always focused on that. I am a closet nerd as well. So learning new things and finding new ways, it literally, I would sit there and do it if I didn't get paid for it.
Yeah.
So I applied that into my life as well, being able to look at yourself and go, oh, yeah, okay, that was me. yeah, okay, I probably could have handled that better, you know? And I think just constantly growing on that rather than trying to be perfect. And I
Mm,
just didn't. I was, you know, this organized mess, this, you know, crazy chaos.
yeah,
But it worked and it worked how I needed it to.
yeah.
Rather than me looking around and going, oh, but she has it all together. No, she doesn't. She doesn't have it all together. She's just hiding parts, you know, that she doesn't want you to see. So yeah, I kind of just was unapologetic in the way that I grew as a person, the way that I grew my business, the way that I treated my clients, the way that I treated my family. I was just unapologetic and it looked however I needed it to at that time.
Yeah, I love it. I remember when I first started working with you, you had a picture on your socials and you're wearing a shirt and it said, "Good girls seldom make history." And
Oh, yes.
I love that. It's stuck in my mind ever since then. And I remember like actually my mum, she was like, "Oh, I don't know about your mentor." And she had this whole thing about how there's nothing wrong with being a good girl and blah blah blah. And I was like, I think you're kind of missing the point of that quote. You know, it's like, yeah, it's yes, we want to be kind humans, yes, but that's
Yeah,
not
of
what this is
course.
talking about. This is talking about like you have to break the rules sometimes
Playing
to
safe.
change. Yeah, you can't keep
Yeah.
playing safe. And yeah, I just love that. I'll always remember that when I think of you as well because that's really what you've done.
Yeah, I think yeah, I mean, that shirt, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like, I need to just sink this into my skin.
Mm,
But it's so true. You know, I think if you're so focused on doing what everyone else is doing and sounding like everyone else and being a good girl and not stepping out of line,
mm,
then you're going to get lost in what's called the blue ocean. You know, no one's going to know who you are. No one's going to really, you know, you're not going to stand out. It's all going to look the same. And I understood that from I don't think it was even taught to me. It was just
mm.
something that is ingrained in me. I was put on this planet because I was put here to disrupt, but not in a way that's disruptful, but
Yeah.
in a way where it just gets people like yourself to just go, oh, hang on a second. You're right. Like, yeah, I do need to, you know, do things a little bit differently, or I do need to stand out, or I do need to learn to be confident enough to actually have
Yeah.
a voice. And with my very first brand that I built, I always would say I was the voice for women that hadn't quite got the confidence to have their own voice yet. And that was
Mm,
because I would say all the things that most other people wouldn't say. You
yeah.
know, I would just call it as it is. And if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. It's not like, oh, hey, you know, that's another program you need to go in, or, you know, we're
Mm,
not friends, so I can't tell you that. I've always just treated everybody like, if you take the time to reach out and if I can help you, I will.
yeah. Yeah, I love that. And I think that that idea is really important in like a business branding sense as well, but even just in a general sense for
Yeah.
women especially, that idea of a good girl is so dangerous. It keeps us trapped, it keeps us limited, it keeps us stuck in relationship situations that are not safe for us to be in because we have all this programming that, oh, we have to be good and don't ruffle feathers and don't speak your truth, right? Like all of that. So yeah, and I really
Yeah, it keeps
see
you
that's
with
your
no
brand.
boundaries.
Yeah.
It keeps you with no boundaries.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that's
if you're a
exactly.
good girl, you have no boundaries because you will
Yeah.
do whatever people need you to do in order to continue to have that belief system be real and true
Mm,
for you.
yes.
So yeah, I don't know. The rebelling served me really well. And I used to feel bad for it. And I used to carry so much guilt and shame around it because I'm not like everyone else. And yeah, I probably did play up and you know, I was a really hard teenager, but I'd also had an extremely hard life as well, you know, and I was dealing with a lot of trauma.
Mm,
But, you know, again, it was just about going, hey, like, who do you want to become? Do you want to use it to fuel your fire or burn the friggin' house down? So, you know, we have choices, and I chose for my life to look different.
yeah, because you can take that disruption and harm yourself,
Yeah.
or you can do what you've done and you can channel it into something that makes your life and other people's lives better and creates, you have daughters, I have daughters, like we're here to create new possibilities and opportunities for them. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think coming from a background of sexual abuse as well, like, you know, my grandmother had gone through it, my mother had gone through it, and then it was handed to me. And it was in that moment that I was so angry as well. Like, why me? Do you know what I mean? Like, you guys knew what was going on. Surely you would know the signs. Surely you'd know what to look for. And I guess in that moment as well, it was like the fucking chain breaks here. Like, there is no way we are passing this. No, we are not that level of woman. And someone said to me, and I don't even remember who said it, but someone said to me once, like, you are only handed what you can handle. And I was like, well, why was I handled sexual abuse? And they're like, well, because you were the only person that had the balls to break the chain. And I was like, wow, it's so true, because my mum's era was be the good girl, shut up, you've got nothing to say, right? And then my grandma's era was even more so, you're a woman, you don't have a say, you know? And I just thought, hang on a second, like, this has to change here. And I need to raise really strong, powerful women, because there needs to be more of it. Not because we need to take over the world and men don't matter. None of that. It's because we've lost our voice. For so many generations, we've lost our voice. And we have so much to share that's going to help other women, you know, in the same situation.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because there's a lot of, back and forth, like, feminine business and masculine business and blah, blah, blah. But what I see people missing the point a lot of, is when they hear of feminism, they think it's one particular thing, but it's not. It is about that balance. It is about being able to be, and I know I've seen your content around this a lot, being able to be in your feminine as well as take care of business, as well as have boundaries, as well as lead and inspire, like, and take action. Like, you can have both. Yeah.
Yeah, 100% you can. And let's be real, there's no sun without night. You know, there's no hot without cold. So why do we think that there's no masculine without feminine? Of course there is, you know, but people just embody it differently. Some people are very much, you know, in the feminine flow, but in the feminine flow, we do nothing.
Yes.
Feminine
Exactly.
flow, there's no action. So, you know, if you are somebody that wants a business, or you want to create success, or you want to become an Olympic champion, there has to be a masculine in order to actually put the wheels in motion. So
Absolutely.
I just think this masculine, feminine, you know, the whole deal, I think, is, you know, a little bit crazy, because again, everybody's situation and circumstances are going to look different. And if I had gone and coached with somebody that helped me get into my feminine, there is no way that I would have my life right now, or the business that I have right now. Nor would I have been able to hold the pillars needed to be able to actually take action, because I would have just been airy fairy
Yeah.
smelling roses all day, you know. So I believe that I needed to operate out of my masculine in order to get the foundations.
Yeah.
Once those foundations were there, I could then start the healing process and feel secured. Every single nervous system, the difference between it firing on constant fight or flight or it moving into flow is safety. And for me, I didn't have the support around me to be given safety, so I had to create it for myself. So I had to go into my masculine first, lay the concrete, build the walls. Then I could fall into that feminine and start my healing process many, many years later. So my business was 110%. And a lot of my life was 110% built off trauma, 110%. But it's how I needed to create safety in my particular situation, because I couldn't create it any other way.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. Like, anyone that has a feminine based business has a lot of structure in the background if their business is working. So I think, like, it's really important that people are very clear on that. And this isn't just business, this is life as well. Like you said,
Yeah.
it's about having security and safety, and that is part of the masculine energetics, right? It's about that. So
Yeah.
you have to be able to have both. And you're right, you can't feel safe to be in your intuition, to be in your flow, and be into trusting and surrendering if you don't feel safe. Like, you can't do it if you don't have security underneath you or supporting you.
Yeah.
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 And that's that push pull that people will feel, is like, I know I need to heal, but I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're still in the same situation that broke you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, like there's so many situations, and I just think that it's so vastly different depending on who you are, where you're at, what you've been through, and where you're heading.
Mm.
You know, somebody that doesn't want to build a business and is quite happy in a 9 to 5, they don't need to be in your masculine first and then create safety to foot. Like the way that you're going to do it is going to look completely different. And I think there needs to be more care and more understanding and less judgment, especially online, about how people heal. So I guess, you know, the cool thing with this, and I actually laugh at it quite a lot, is like I haven't meditated every day. I haven't, you know, howled at the moon. I haven't done a yoni steaming session. I don't have a collection of crystals. And I've still been able to create my ideal lifestyle. Now, I'm not saying that you don't need those things. And what if I had had them? Wow, maybe I could have created more. But what I'm saying is my unique blueprint, that just wasn't part of my blueprint. Now it can be, because I've got so much more time and space and energy that I actually can do that from a place of wanting, not
Yeah.
having. And I think that that's just, it's so key that
Mm.
we just have less judgment online on what's right and how it needs to be done,
Yeah.
and making sure that the way that you build your life or your business is going to match the lifestyle and the end result that you want to create. And that's, again, you know, what we've done and what we've personally harnessed. And I think that's why we have so much trust in the online space, is because
Mm.
people have watched me actually do the thing, you
Mm.
know. And I think that's really key in life and in business. Just go first.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things, like you're saying, is there isn't a one size fits all. Everyone needs to be aware of where they're at, what their journey has been, what it
Yeah.
is, what their blueprint is. So that piece around discernment is so important. You need to be able to figure out what's true and correct for you. And you
Yeah.
need to take that self accountability. You can't just be like, oh, but this coach told me I should do XYZ and I
Yeah.
get this. Like, you have to have that personal responsibility and accountability,
Yeah.
for what you do follow and what advice you do take, and listening to it. And like you have said, you did multiple times, you took that advice, you had coaches, you had guides, and then you decided what was right for you and what wasn't, and moved forward from there.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's more research. Do
Mm.
more research. Don't get caught up in the fluff and the hype and the figures and the promises. Go and do your research. Ask for testimonials. Ask them to connect you with previous clients. Ask to see whatever it is that they said they can do, you know, because I think you get a lot of your answers if you ask more questions. Questions are the answers, you know,
Yeah.
and I think people they're just putting so much trust in what they see,
Mm.
and not everything on social media is real. So
Mm.
I think way more questions. You know, if somebody's teaching social media, just, oh, how long have you actually been a social media manager? Oh, a year. Okay, right. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you're gonna get your answers just by looking at that, you know, and get some feedback from people around you as well. Because the ones that are real, they don't mind you. Go in,
Mm.
poke around, have a look around, ask whoever. I don't mind. It's the ones that are like, oh no, you know, I'm not going to connect you with past clients. Yeah, because they're probably not going to be sharing anything amazing. So I just think, yeah, more research. But in anything, it doesn't just mean with coaches. Like any doctors,
Mhm.
whatever. Like if you don't think it's right, or your body is not an absolute fuck yes, then go and get another opinion. Go and ask somebody else, because your body doesn't lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Your body knows so much more than you do.
Oh,
It knows. Yeah. Yeah.
it,
It
yeah.
definitely knows. So I guess I want to ask then, why online business? Like, what was it about business online specifically? Like, why did you see that as like this ultimate vehicle to this lifestyle you wanted, to being able to do things your own way?
Yeah. So after I had baby number two, she wasn't very old when I sent her back to daycare, or when I sent her to daycare for the first time. And I went back to work. And at the time, my partner at the time was FIFO, and we massively traded time for dollars.
Mhm.
And I remember like saying to him, I'm going to retire you for life by the time you're 30. And he was like, yeah, righto, you know, it's not going to happen. And that was enough for me to be like, oh yeah, watch me. You know, that relationship broke down and I became a single mom. But I stuck to my end of the deal. And by the time he would have turned 30, I would have retired him for life. And what got me there, firstly, I think, was when I started to toy with the idea of the online. I actually didn't even know the online space was a thing. I had no idea that you could work online. I really wasn't into computers. I didn't really. It was like a hidden secret, that I was actually really creative and really, really techie, but I just didn't know it yet. And I remember saying to my boss at the time, whose dream I was building for him, I'm thinking of like having a bit of a dabble in the online space. And he was like, businesses like that don't work. And I was like, all right, strike two. I've got someone telling me that I can't and someone telling me they don't work. And I've seen proof of people that I know doing it. And that was it. That was it for me. It was like, all right, watch me whip, watch me nay nay. I'm out of here. And I actually realized that the online space is so much about relationship building. And it was such a big part of my life that I missed. Coming from such a broken family, I didn't have great relationships. I didn't have great connections and communication. So I craved it. So when I built out my first company in the online space, it filled up every one of my cups because I was meeting new people every day. I was talking to people. I had this epic group of powerhouse women that wanted more for their families. And I just thought, wow, this is it for me. And honestly, I've never looked back. There's not been one day where I've gone, maybe I should get a job. Or the only time I ever thought about potentially going back to work would have been to strategically place myself in a situation that would have had me in front of exactly the right people. Would I have stayed in that position? No, I probably would have taken the position just to be in the room with those people. I didn't do that, but it did cross my mind. So yeah, I think for me, it was built on trauma. It was built because my mom had said to me, you're so tattooed, like no one's ever going to take you seriously. This is long before I had as many tattoos as I do now. And, no one's ever could take you seriously. You're not going to get anywhere in life. Teachers at school were like, you're not going anywhere. You're never going to be anyone, Mel, when you look like that. And it was 110%. My driver at the start of my business was 110% built on trauma, where it was like, well, fucking watch me. Now it's a really amazing, humble place to come from. I actually don't care anymore. I don't care because those same people that say things, they're not watching anyway. So it was really cool to be able to heal in that process. But I'm so grateful for the trauma, because it made me warrior fearless. Like I didn't give a shit. People were, hypothetically running at me with guns and spears, and I was just running directly for them, and I say that as in haters online, as in challenges that come up, lack of finances to start, all of those types of things. And I just ran at it head on. Like, I don't care. Let's find a way. So yeah, I think the online space for me was just something I'd never seen before. And when I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And when I saw what women especially were creating, I was like, yeah, I've got some things to say in this space. And 8 years later, here we are.
Yeah. I love that. And I just want to take a step back and see if you can give some advice to people, because it is like it's a unique gift that you have to have been able to face, all of that fear of judgment and potential failure and success, and still keep going. Like that's something that really holds most people back from even pursuing their dream at all. So like what advice do you have for people getting started, or how did you turn like failures and setbacks and judgment into opportunities for growth and learning?
Such a great question. So I think failures and setbacks, you need to know now that they're absolutely going to happen. And, somebody said that to me in the early days, like 110% shit's going to go pear-shaped. And I was like, oh, and they're like, so be ready. So I think I just reframed it. So when it happened, I was like, oh, that's what she spoke about. And this is how I can deal with it. Again, that happened because I was in a room of people where I was the poorest person at the table. So the advice that I was getting was from people that had already done it. So by the time it happened for me, I already knew how to handle it because, this is what she was talking about. I think if you play in a small circle, you're never ready for what's coming because tell you because I haven't been there. So I think that was a big piece for me, was being around people. And, you know, I didn't pay tens of thousands of dollars to be in rooms. I was just around people that were just doing better. They were at their chapter 10. I was at my chapter 2. So that was a big piece of overcoming challenges, was just knowing they're coming. And what are you going to do when they get there? So rather worrying about the challenge when it happens, focus on the outcome that you want to create when it does happen, and start thinking about it now. What happens when your first VA that does everything inside your business quits right before a launch? What are you going to do? Think about that now. Don't think about, oh my God, like, oh, I've got a launch coming up and, oh, what if they quit? No. You got to think about, like, what are you going to do immediately when it happens? Because it's not an if. Most of the time it's a when. So I think I just reframed that very, very quickly. How did I get over haters? Honestly, I didn't have that many because I kind of cleared out. I went into my Facebook friends list and I was like, would I do business with this person? Yes or no? Do I actually like this person? Yes or no? And I was brutal, like brutal. As soon as people had said to me, Mel, you've changed, my answer was yes, I have.
Thank you for noticing.
Yeah, like I was just so unapologetic about it. I was like, you're either coming or you're not, you know?
Yeah.
I never, you know, I'm changing, so you're now bad. It was never like that. But I just started to pull back. I started to pull back from relationships and situations that didn't serve me. You know, a lot of people around me were big drinkers. You know, it's kind of, again, it was a circle I was raised in. I was one of those people. And I just slowly was like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And I just started edging back and edging back. And I think, again, there's so much pressure on, get it right. You just need to stop. You know, someone would, oh, you just need to stop drinking. Well, how's that going to happen, right? Like, you know, you've got people that are big drinkers over here, my best friend, you know, all these things were happening. And, you know, for me now, like, it's taken 8 years of solid choices to now be like getting drunk or drinking in large sum. It doesn't happen in my life anymore, you know, but I knew that it was going to be a long process. I knew that I wasn't going to get it right, and I wasn't hard on myself when I fucked up. You know, okay, maybe I probably was in my brain, but you know, like I was just like, okay, move on. You've already done it. Like, let's just move on and not do it again. Oh shit, you did it again. Okay, let's just try again. And I just, no matter what it was, whether it was life, parenting, business, alcohol, like anything that I wanted to overcome or be better at, I just kept getting back on the horse. Back on the fucking horse, get back on the horse, get back on the horse. And at some point, you're going to arrive at your destination after you've been on and off the horse 47,000 times and delayed the process. But I believe that you delay the process because you're not ready for the outcome yet.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so I believe that all the times I fell off my horse, you know, in business, it was necessary because I wasn't ready yet to hold that level of growth or success. Every time I fell in relationships, I wasn't ready. I wasn't, you know, drinking. I just wasn't ready. And it's okay, you know, and now I'm approaching 40. Fuck, I'm ready. I'm so ready, you know, and so many areas of my life are just exactly how I wanted them to be. And it's because I took the pressure off myself of them having to look perfect, because I don't care. If she says it needs to look perfect, or if she says it needs to look a certain way, I just don't listen. Because let's be real, right from the story that I told you at the start of being, I didn't really listen right from the start. So why would I start now? And it served me very, very, very well, is that this is your journey. This is your path. This is your business. This is your story. Write the damn thing however you like. And flip the bird to anybody that isn't interested in reading it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, this is my story. And if you don't like it, bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
You know, no one's forcing anybody to be in anybody's circle. But I think sometimes we force the friendship or the relationship to stay. And the universe is doing everything in its power to rip that person out of your life. And you're holding on to the ball and chain because it feels comfortable. And honestly, my what I can speak of is my life and my business blew up when my relationship with my best friend of 13 years fell apart, because I was carrying dead weight. I was
Yeah.
bringing people on a journey and they couldn't come. And I was so heartbroken, like heartbroken. I mean, for a solid 12 months, I was just brought to my knees on what had happened. And again, I don't even know who said this, but they said, Mel, the universe has seen and heard things that you haven't.
Mm.
Therefore, it's taken people out of your life that can't go where you're heading. And fuck, that couldn't have been any more true.
Yeah.
I would not be where I am now if those people were still in my life.
Mm. Yeah, there's so many great points you just made in there, so everyone should go back and rewind and listen to
Mm.
that again. But a couple of things is, knowing from the beginning that it does require resilience. It does require you to persevere. Like, these are character traits, if you don't have, you must develop if you
Yeah.
want to create the life of your dreams, whether it's through business or anything. You
Yeah.
have to have those qualities.
Yeah, and it doesn't get easy
Mm,
first. It
mm,
gets hard first.
yeah.
And a lot of people saying, you shouldn't work to the point of burnout. I don't agree. I do not agree. I believe you need to push yourself as far as you can go because then you know your limits.
Mm,
Then we know where we don't want to go again. Now, I'm not saying push yourself to actual burnout, but get yourself to the point where you're like, okay, this is a lot. And let's say in business, this is a lot, or in like this is a lot. I need to change XYZ because if
mm,
you don't put the system like a diamond, if it isn't put under pressure, it's never going to turn into a diamond. So
mm.
I think sometimes we try to skip the hard because it's going to
Yes.
hurt,
Yeah.
or it's going to be tiring, or I'm actually going to have to do the work. Whereas I was just like, righto, hair up in the bun,
Yeah.
roll the sleeves up, let's do it. Let's do
Yeah.
it. So, I guess go into everything preparing that it's going to be your biggest fight.
Mm.
It's going to be your biggest fight because anything worth keeping and anything worth having is going to be real damn hard to get. But I think you get to pick your hard.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to pick your heart, and there's a lot of talk about burnout, but there's a scale between burning yourself out and working for what you want, right? Like,
Yeah.
they aren't like this. It's not mutually exclusive. Like, you have to work for what you want, but that doesn't have to mean burnout. Like, it
No.
and you don't learn your lessons, like you said, unless you actually go through them and learn them.
Yeah.
You don't grow unless there's some resistance that you have to move through in the first
Yeah.
place. And a lot
Yeah.
of
But I
the
think,
time, oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's stretching yourself. And
Mm,
I think if you try to play too safe,
mm,
you're still going to be, I'm doing things that are different. Yeah, but they're this different. We
yeah.
need you to do things that are, because this is the thing. If you want to grow your bicep muscle, the
Mm-hmm.
skin has to stretch to
Mm-hmm.
allow that muscle to grow inside, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think, what I'm seeing a lot of is this trend online, especially right now, where it's like, oh no, like I can just go straight into sales on autopilot and live
Yeah.
this amazing. No, you can't. You
Yeah.
cannot just go straight into that. Yes, some people have done it, but they've had huge, huge budgets to be able to do so. So I think it's just knowing like it's gonna get harder
Mm.
before it gets easier. But if you can stand strong inside that really, really hard time, no matter what it is, the easy is a walk in the park, an
Yeah.
absolute walk in the park, and you are rewarded in
Yes.
a very amazing way, whatever that looks like for you, you are rewarded for the times that tested you.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And everyone's journey is different.
Yeah.
So it might take longer for you to get to the reward because you might have more you need to move through and you need to learn and more pressure you need to go to be put under. And like you said, it's about being aware of that at the start, not thinking it's going to be easy and preparing for it, because that's something people miss in the whole manifestation process as well. They're like, oh, this is the end result I want, but they don't actually spend any time visualizing what does it look like to get there? What do I have to do? When it goes
Yeah.
wrong, what will I do to get back on track? Like, yeah,
Yeah, and
really
that's
important.
especially with people that win the lottery, right? You
Mm,
see them win the lottery and then they squander it down, and
mm,
in a couple of years it's gone. It's because they never learned who
yeah,
they needed to become to
mm,
hold that type of energy,
yeah,
So yeah, I think honestly, I think it's about like thinking, who do you need to become
yes,
in order to have the life that you want? Because it isn't the version that you are now.
no, Yeah. And if
No.
you don't become that person, you're not going to feel ready to receive it. And then that's where the pitfalls keep happening. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, amazing. I have two more questions that I'd
Yeah.
love to ask you. Um, I think we have kind of given some really good tips on this anyway, but I will ask the question.
Mm.
What would you say to anyone who is listening who knows they know deep down that they really desire more for themselves, but they don't know how to take that first step?
I think it's just find somebody that's done what you want to do and know that you're going to have to invest, right? You're not going to get this magical life that you want for free. It's not a Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Know that you need to invest. You work out what that looks like for you, what's comfortable inside your body to do. But I think find somebody that has what you have for real. Sorry, find someone that has what you want, but they actually have it, right? Make
Yeah.
sure you've done your due diligence on that one, and then learn from them,
Mm,
because you're going to get the fastest route from A to Z if you're working with somebody that already has what you want and can show you what not to do.
mm,
When you try and do it yourself, because you're going to save money, and I'm just going to do this because you are going to A, burn out, B, you're going to resent everything that you've just built, or C, you're not even going to take the action because you don't know what you don't know.
yeah.
And you cannot turn yourself into the CEO version of you, whether that's in life or business, when you haven't been there yet. You don't know what it looks like. You think you know. So I think, yeah, definitely find somebody that has what you want,
Mm.
and learn.
Yeah, yeah. And it comes back again, like you said, you have to become the person that has that end result, but you can't figure that out on your own because you
Yeah,
can only, like, the brain literally works, the way it works is it makes predictions about the future based on your past. So if you are the only person making those predictions about the future and those taking those steps forward alone, you're just going to recreate the same thing over and over again. So you
yeah,
have to find
yeah.
somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah, my most favorite quote is go to where you're heading
Mm.
and wait for yourself to catch up.
Mm.
So dress like the CEO, act like the CEO. Now, I'm not saying fake it till you make it, but hold yourself, speak about yourself, and, present yourself like you already are her,
Yeah.
because that is now the reality inside your brain, and your actual surroundings will start to reflect that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty key, especially in business. I was holding business calls before I was even ready.
Yeah.
I was just diving straight in because that's what I would have been doing when I was a CEO.
Yeah.
So I think people wait till they're ready, and that's the problem. You're never going to be.
Yeah. Mm, yeah. Perfect. All
Massive.
right. I have one last question for you, and it's a question that I ask everyone who comes onto the show. So,
Okay.
what does the word fearless mean to you?
Oh, okay. The word fearless to me is, how do I wrap this up with a big red bow? The word fearless to me is the version of yourself that every single person knows that they want to be. And it's the action and the doing to create it. So no matter what comes up, no matter what happens, no matter what they say, no matter how you feel, no matter, you're so focused on the thing, no matter what that is. I believe that's fearless, because the commitment to yourself inside that is the gift.
Mm,
Hmm.
yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. And if you can trust yourself, the rest of the journey is easy.
Mm,
Because if you're building a business, you trust that it's going to be successful. If you're building a family, you trust that it's going to be great and the kids are going to be amazing and there's going to be no problems, no dramas, whatever, no trauma. I think when you have that trust in yourself, the rest of the path is already laid for you, and that's fearless.
yeah, that is fearless.
Mm.
Thank you so much.
You're
Where
welcome.
can people come to find you if they want more, they want to connect with you?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a pretty large presence on Facebook. So just under Melanie Brandt on Facebook. It's Mel Brandt _official on Instagram. And also www.lifestyleind.com if you want to look into anything else that we do.
Awesome. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time on the show today.
You're so welcome.
Yes, and thank you everybody for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sure you got incredible amounts of value out of that. So big love, everybody, and go out there and be the hero of your own story. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I really hope you received exactly what you needed from it. I absolutely loved sharing it with you. I'd also love to know what you thought, so please leave a comment or a review for me to respond to, or just come over and say hi on my socials. If you'd love to be a guest on the show, or maybe you have a question or a topic that you'd like me to talk about, then please send me a message. I absolutely love to connect. And really, this podcast is all about you. And your success. So tell me what you need to hear more of. If you really enjoyed this episode, please give it a like, or even better, send it to someone you know to spread the love. Let's get this authentic success movement happening. Okay, that's it from me. Big love. Now go out there and be amazing.